unless you've been living under a rock, you have heard the story. So in May 28, 2003, there was a man, a 61-year-old Chinese man, I believe, Asian man named Rick Chow, who runs a Shell convenience store, gas station, over in Columbus, South Carolina, specifically in Richland County. And he got into an altercation with a young black teen, a 14-year-old black teen named Cyrus Carmack Belton. And the altercation led to him shooting Cyrus Carmack Belton. And here's the thing. I know there's always a lot of people who say play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And sometimes I am of that inclination. But when it's a young teen, when they die, I do think it is a tragedy. So I'm not gloating over this young man, Cyrus Carmack Belton's death. But what I am saying is that the biggest thing that the black community needs to take away from this is not that Asians are just targeting and going open fire all over Black America, but what they need to take away is that maybe if you clean up your act, if you took some accountability, and if you made life better for yourselves and your community, things will get better. Now, let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about what is going on, what actually happened, all the details and the evidence of the case. Then we will outline why the black community is wrong and misinformed. And also, their direction, their energy is misdirected into the worst and the most negative possible outcome. So let's talk about this. So this happened, of course, we outlined in May of 2023 in South Carolina. And in this county, Richland County in Columbus, is a very, very predominantly black neighborhood. So this county has over 50%, higher estimates, 50% black community. It's a diverse community, but predominantly black. And what happened as a result? So in that incident, right? Well, to give a little background, this is a high crime neighborhood. There's a lot of shoplifting. Hundreds of crimes are reported to police every single year. Hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds. So it's a pretty high crime neighborhood. So you can see this is Rick Chow. He is on edge. He is constantly dealing with these type of people. But ultimately, what happened in the case? What happened the incident. So basically, this kid, Cyrus, comes in and he grabs 4 bottles. And then so when he comes in, he has a backpack. Rick Chow's wife tells him to put the backpack down. He puts it down. He abides. Okay, that's great. And then he takes 4 water bottles, but then he places them back. So he actually didn't steal any water bottles, by the way. But Rick Chow and his son, they thought he did. And he said, I didn't steal anything. And then he started running. Right? So here's the thing. First of all, if you didn't steal anything, there's no reason to run. But I understand, okay, maybe you're a 14-year-old young black teen and you're scared. You might be scared. Fine. I'll give you that much. But after that, he ran, he dropped his gun, and then he picked it back up. Right? So if you're in a chase and if you're really innocent, I get it. Maybe it's your belongings. Fine. But then he picked it back up. And then after that, he pointed his gun back at Rick Chow and his son, and then Rick Chow shot in self-defense. And now people say he got shot in the back. Well, yeah, and then the defense proposed that he turned around after pointing the gun, which is also a plausible case, and then he was shot and he was killed. And now the gun was found on his body, and even the prosecution admitted that while he might have dropped the gun during the chase, he picked it back up. Now, here's the thing. If you're truly scared, I understand. Maybe you want to pick it back up for self-defense. But I don't know why you're running. You have nothing to be ashamed of or scared of because you didn't steal what you were accused of being. You didn't steal anything. They accused you of stealing. You didn't steal anything. You're innocent. But I get it. High stakes, high tensions, all of that stuff. But here's the thing. The black community now is saying it's Rick Chow hunting young black people. That Asians are going around hunting black people. And here's the thing. In court trials, the prosecution was going for a murder charge. So they had to prove murder. But the jury, all they had to do is either prove or rule guilty or not guilty. And clearly, there was a reasonable doubt of murder. All the defense had to do was prove reasonable doubt on murder. And in South Carolina, in order to prove murder charges, it has to be shown that the killing was done with malice, right? With intention, with malice, harboring hatred, ill will, and wanting to kill the other person. But because of the gun in the young man's possession, the jury ruled that there was reasonable doubt that this was murder. Therefore, he was acquitted on the murder charges. This is why from the get-go, the fact that the prosecution sought murder charges instead of maybe involuntary manslaughter, that's really what I think, in my opinion, won the case. Because if it was manslaughter, then yeah, maybe he would have gotten punished. He wouldn't have gotten acquitted. But they were seeking murder when, in the case, they proved that the murder, there was reasonable doubt. There was reasonable doubt because he not only had a gun on him, but after he dropped it, he picked it back up. And now it's just about a case of he said, she said. And then also the eyewitnesses, these eyewitnesses, it was all in the spur of a moment, right? And then all the eyewitnesses who testified in terms of what they saw in the incident were black. Now, I'm not going to ascribe any motives to the eyewitnesses, but we already know that certain people in certain communities, they look out for each other and they overlook the worst crimes. And plus, at the same time, when you're looking at the incident, it looks bad. An older Asian man with a gun pointed at a young black guy who just shot. Our memories can get a little fadey and a little distorted when we're talking about these issues and we're recollecting our memories about certain very high stake, high emotional issues, high stress times as well. So that's what happened, essentially. And then also, it's funny because they say it's like a symptom of white supremacy and that the jury was racist against blacks, but there were multiple black jurors as well. So that just disproves the narrative. But that's the case. That's the totality of it. I hope I summarized it pretty well for you guys. I try to be fair. I looked into the court documents and I looked into all of it. So yes, he didn't steal. So if there was anyone who got the impression that he did steal, I do take that back. I thought he stole, but looking at the evidence, he actually didn't steal anything. He didn't have any of the stolen items on him at the moment of death. But he did have a gun on him. And he did pick up that gun after he was chased down. And so it was really a matter of he said, she said. And at the end of the day, the jury found that, okay, the possibility that Rick Chow was just defending himself and his son is high, or there even is a possibility. So therefore, it's not murder. You can say it's involuntary manslaughter. You can say it's manslaughter, but you can't say that it's murder. Now, what are black people saying? What are black people saying? Well, one thing that black people keep saying is that he was targeting Cyrus Carmick Belton because he has a history. Rick Chow has a history of shooting black people. Now, this is not true. He doesn't go around trying to shoot black people. But the two cases they referenced in 2015, he fired multiple shots at a female shoplifter's vehicle, and this female shoplifter stole beer and threatened him after a struggle. No one was injured, but she stole beer and she threatened him after a physical altercation. So yes, he is 100% justified in shooting the vehicle. Yeah, 100%. What do you want him to do? You just allow people to steal from your convenience store? It's ridiculous. And then also in 2018, he shot a male shoplifter who stole oven cleaner. Out of all the things to steal. Okay, out of all the things to steal, you could have stolen some bread, you could have stolen a drink if you're hungry, you're thirsty. No, he stole an oven cleaner. And he stole the oven cleaner and assaulted Rick Chow. What do you think Rick Chow's going to do? He's going to shoot him, okay? And he got shot in the leg. He didn't die. And both of these instances, the race of the shoplifters and the assaulters were not revealed, but I think we can assume who they were. Granted, the racial demographics and the kind of behavior that we see exhibited time and time again from this particular community. And so, of course, he's on edge, okay? Like, he's had multiple shoplifting incidents where he had to shoot in retaliation in self-defense. Of course, he's going to be on edge constantly. And so that's just ridiculous. But yeah, now they have this narrative that they're just going around shooting black people open season. This guy has been targeting the black community for years. This is just not true. Now, if we have the video pulled up, Rick Chow's convenience store was then raided, looted, ransacked, and had vandalized with graffiti all over. Now take a look at this. It's just
Water
horrific.
bottles. That's what the little boy died because of water bottle. He stole a water bottle. 89-cent water he lost his life for. That's crazy. Plenty of water bottles. Now water so free is crazy. They stole all the cigars, the Newports, the lottery tickets, everything. It's a whole case of Heineken still on the ground. Trashed it. Bad. Okay, so the store is broken.
So that's what his convenience store looks like now. That's what the gas station looks like now. And it's very sad. These people, they don't care about justice. They don't care about equality under the law. They don't care about impartiality and fairness. They don't care about all of these things that they tout and the liberals tout that they believe in. It's all about finding excuses to riot and to loot. You really think that they wanted justice for this young man? If you want these kind of incidents and these tragedies to stop, one thing you have to do is clean up your own community. Fix your own house. Why, first of all, why is a 14-year-old young man carrying around a handgun? Now, people might say, there's a Second Amendment. What do you have a problem with? Why are you carrying around a handgun? Okay, fine. You can carry around a handgun. But why are you pointing it at the store owner if you think he has accused you wrongfully of stealing? Why would you do that? And even if he, per se, in that specific incident, was innocent, we have a plethora of incidents, examples, stories, anecdotes of black people stealing, looting, robbing, killing, brutalizing Asians. So do you think that Asians are just unjustifiably, with no reason whatsoever, having a stereotype against black people and always being on edge against black people, especially urban black people? No, that's not what's happening. Asians are just, oh yeah, we just hate black people because of the color of their skin. That's just not what's happening. They're being judged and they're being assessed by the content of their character and by their behavior. Behavioral patterns we see from this community time and time again. So here's one thing that they keep doing. They keep crafting this narrative about how, Asian men, Asian people, older Asian folks are just targeting and killing black teens and young black youth. And so the two examples they always look to is Latasha Harlins and Cyrus Carmick Belton. Now, if you know anything about Latasha Harlins, we know this case with Cyrus Carmick Belton, his name's so long, that it happened in 2023, so it happened 3 years ago. But Latasha Harlins, this is a case that happened in 1991. Now, if we have the post pulled up, do we have the post pulled up? All right, so anyways, while producer E pulls up the post of Latasha Harlins, what you have to know is about even Latasha Harlins. She was a 15-year-old black girl who was shot and killed by a Korean store owner in Koreatown in 1991. Her name was Sun Da-ju. So in Korean, it's Tu Sun-ja. And then so basically, if you know anything about this case, they say that she just shot a black girl unprovoked. But this was just not the case. They said she shot her over a bottle of juice. Well, it wasn't just a bottle of juice. Okay? Harlins hit Sun in the face twice with the glass bottle and punched her, knocking her to the ground. Then Sun shot the fleeing Harlins. Okay, so it wasn't like, oh, you took some orange juice, or she was innocent. She stole the orange juice and took the juice bottle and hit her over the head, and it punched her. So, like, what do you want her to do? And then, of course, Sun Jadu, in retaliation, shot her in self-defense. And so, actually, she wasn't unpunished. She was actually convicted of voluntary manslaughter and sentenced to 5 years of probation, 10 years of suspended prison, 400 hours of community service, and payment of a 500 fine, and Harlan's funeral costs. And then after that, the black community in LA destroyed her store, burned it to the ground through arson during the 92 riots, and it never reopened. So her life was completely destroyed. Her livelihood completely destroyed. For what? Because she shot in self-defense against Latasha Harlins, who was violent against her. Now, these are two cases that they share. And even if these two instances, they were innocent, which they were not, provably so, it's one incident from 1991 and one incident from 2023. So these are the only two incidents where they can look to for examples of black youth being targeted by Asians. Now, as an Asian, how many examples can I pull up? How many examples can I pull up of the past, not only couple of years, but the past year of black people attacking Asians? It is countless. It is innumerable. How many times have black people gone into Asian nail salons, caused a ruckus, assaulted, beating up Asians? We have a video right here of a black woman who was denied EBT, using EBT to get her nails done, and then she assaults the hair salon owner and the nail salon owner as a result. Look at this. So this happens. This happens regularly. This happens regularly in the black community to Asian businesses. So we want to talk about black on Asian crime. This is what they always say. They keep saying that black people are attacking Asians. Is that really true? Do we want to pull up the statistics? Let's pull up the statistics. This is from the Bureau of Justice Statistics from the DOJ itself, okay? This is interracial violent crimes from 2017 to 2021, according to the DOJ. Black on Asian crimes account for 94.2% of the crimes, 191,970 instances, versus Asian on black crimes only account for 5.8% and 11,850 instances. Who's attacking who right now? Who's attacking who? And not only that, Asians, right? This Asian umbrella encompasses everyone. Everyone from Iran to China, from Korea to Afghanistan, okay? Like everyone is Asian, because Asian is just a big umbrella of people who come from Asian. If you're Polynesian, if you're Sri Lankan, heck, maybe I think even Russian is categorized under here because Russia is technically in Asia. This is the statistics. So this doesn't even encompass what they're talking about typically when they're saying Asians. These black people say, don't shop at Asian-owned businesses. They say, these Asians are attacking us. They're typically talking about East Asians, right? Chinese, Korean, Japanese. But yeah, this is the statistics. These are the stats. You want to talk about who's attacking Asians and who's attacking who? Let's be real. Let's be real. And they never think, okay, why do Asians have a certain stereotype and a view against our community? Well, maybe because of this. Maybe because all over the country, wherever you go, in every single city, the Asian store owners, business owners, restaurant owners have encountered a certain degree of crime from black people. Now, here's the thing. I don't say that all black people are responsible for this. This is not something that I claim. And this is something I never say online, that every single black person is responsible for this. But when I say the black community writ large, I'm talking about the group that is urban, that commits degeneracy, crime, and excuses all of that in the name of black solidarity and looking out for their own, which is so ridiculous. Because this is the mentality that literally gets them nowhere. because they excuse every single crime, every single ounce of degenerate, dysfunctional behavior, and they protect that. They brand that as black culture. And then if you don't submit to that, if you don't come, like literally get in line and act that way, then you're trying to act white. You're trying to be white. This is why they are also categorizing the lawyer of Rick Chow as a sellout, a traitor. Why? Because the lawyer of Rick Chow, he's a black man. He's a black lawyer. Yet they're saying that he is a sellout and he has all of these racial slurs and epithets because he defended Rick Chow impartially. And also, he's married to a white woman. This is what they're saying right here. This is the man who defended Rick Chow. He's also married to a white woman. And they blur out white as if it's like a slur. So yeah, his name is Sean Kent, I believe. But yeah, he was the lawyer. He was the lawyer for Rick Chow. It was a black lawyer. And they're calling this man a sellout, a traitor, because he defended Rick Chow. So lawyers, upstanding lawyers, Supreme Court justices like Clarence Thomas, these are all, they say Uncle Toms. These are coons. That's what they say. Oh, yeah, but like the guy who encourages you to sleep with many baby mamas, have children out of wedlock, do drugs, shoot up people. Oh, yeah, those are cool. Those are my people. Those are my homies. Like, this is how dysfunctional they are. This is how dysfunctional they are. And so this is the kind of stuff that we're seeing all over the internet. You're also seeing tons and tons of examples of black people on the internet saying, let's stop shopping and patronizing Asian businesses. Let's stop using Asian merchandise. Screw Asian businesses. They're saying this all over the internet. Now, here's a news flash for you, buddy. The device that you're complaining on, the screen that you're looking at while you're complaining, that's all made by Koreans, Chinese, Japanese, is made by Asians. So good luck with that. The very device that you're airing your grievance politics and your false narratives on, they're all made by Asians, by the way. They're all made by Asians. So right here, look at it. These are an example of all these Asian-owned businesses. Jollibee, Huawei, Acura, Boston Dynamics, LG, Hyundai, Nvidia, Samsung, Toyota, Red Bull, Nintendo, Panda Express, SK Hynix, Suzuki, Honda, Subaru, Canon, Volvo, Lenovo, AMC Theaters, 7-Eleven, Panasonic, Nissan. Like, good luck. Good luck. Oh, I have an iPhone. Your screens are from LG. LG is a Korean company. So good luck. Good luck protesting and boycotting Asian businesses. Oh, by the way, I noticed that what is a black-owned business that we can't live without? What is a black technology that we can't live without? Yeah, exactly. This is why things are the way that they are. Because while Asians are focused on building businesses, building products, building infrastructure and civilization, large swaths of the black community are focused on what? Complaining and lying. Constantly demanding reparations. Constantly demanding that we all change our behaviors while they never have to change theirs. And then the very black people who call out this kind of behavior and say, hey, actually, maybe we shouldn't be excusing all kinds of criminal behavior and violent behavior. Oh, they're called sellouts and traitors, and that's just how it goes. And so this is so funny. And I think if you stop supporting Asian businesses, I think largely Asians would be glad so that they don't have to deal with the crazy Shaniqua who walks in, demands that you allow her to use EBT, and the EBT is denied to do her nails, and then she beats you up. The very people who shoplift, yeah, like maybe Asians actually will be better off without large swaths of black patronage. Because you don't have to now get into instances where now Rick Chow has to go in and get into this altercation. And by the way, Rick Chow, he was in prison for 3 years. For 3 years. While he waited for his sentence, for his trial, he waited 3 years in jail. He had no bail. He was denied bail. It is so ridiculous. He was denied bail for something that he did in self-defense for 3 years. He was rotting away in jail for 3 years, denied bail. While a black man can stab someone, shove someone onto the subway tracks, do all these heinous and crazy crimes, and they get low bail, cashless bail. It is so unbelievable. And they claim that black people are oppressed by the justice system. No, this was ruled by a jury of their peers, by even other black people, that they found reasonable doubt that this was murder. But yeah, it's so unbelievable. So actually the justice system writ large is actually biased against whites and East Asians. And that's just the reality. So you can chalk it up that black people are so oppressed, but they're not. They're actually given preferential treatment in our justice system. And thank God the jury ruled justly in this case, because Rick Chow did nothing wrong. Even if you want to say he overreacted, it's a split-second decision when you have a gun pointed at you and your son. What are you going to do? Yes, you have the justification to shoot back in self-defense to protect yourself and your son. This is a done deal, and this is all I'll say about this. Okay, actually, the last thing I'll say about this is that if Asians are attacked or stolen from, if Asians are brutalized, and if black people go into Asian businesses and they shoplift, black people say the shooting isn't justified. They say, are you saying that this life is not worth as much as a glass of orange juice, a bottle of soda? You're saying that a bottle of water is worth more than a human life. That's what they say, right? But in the same vein, they'll say, if you say the N-word, we are justified in beating you up and killing you. If you say the very word that we all say in our regular vernacular every single day, we are justified in killing you and brutalizing you. How does that make any sense? So Asians can't act in self-defense when they're being brutalized or they're being stolen from. That's wrong. That's heinous. That's despicable, reprehensible. But then if we commit the terrible crime of saying the N-word without even like the hard R, we say the N-word, a word that black people say all the time. Oh yeah, the black people are apparently justified in retaliation and killing you. How does that make any sense? And this is just the state of black grievance politics. This is the state of American politics, broadly speaking. And multiculturalism, what a treat. What a treat. And so when people always tout the greatness of diversity, this is the result of it. This is the result. And they keep saying, like, I see this all the time on Black Twitter. They always say, focus on your own problems, Asian. And they always call me ching chong and all these words and all these slurs. Okay, whatever. But they're like, focus on your own problems. We'll focus on ours. And I'm like, you can't even focus on your own problems because you don't call out your own problems. Oh, we'll police our own community. You don't even police your own community. You don't care. There are shootings that happen every single week in major cities all across America where young black children, actually like 5, 6-year-old, 7-year-old children, are shot in the face from gang turf wars, and you just shrug. You just shrug. You'll have young black girls sitting in the passenger seat or in the back seat of a car waiting in a McDonald's drive-thru, and then you have a random black hooligan come up and shoot her in the face. Really? You're policing your own community? Where's the outrage there? There's no outrage because you don't police your own community. You don't care about you don't really actually care about black lives, innocent black lives who are killed, shot, brutalized unjustly. Here's an example right here from Matt Von Swole. In Atlanta, this happened just a few days ago. Police have identified a man who stabbed a man to death on a public train in Atlanta. His name is John Elijah Matthews, a black male. 66-year-old Margaret Swan was sitting alone in the train car when Matthews walked up to her and stabbed her in the throat in broad daylight. And look, if you go down, here's the video footage of not the incident, but him being apprehended. So he's being apprehended. And now, so Margaret Swan. Margaret Swan is not a white woman, by the way. She's a black woman. She's an innocent, sweet black lady. Like, if you want to talk about the kind of citizens that we want in American society, it's Margaret Swan, a sweet black grandma who did nothing wrong, who was minding her own business, sitting alone in a train car, and got stabbed in the throat. Do we have a picture of her? Can you pull up a picture of her? Go down. You can just go down. You can just go down. Yeah. You'll find a picture somewhere. Yeah, right there. Okay, so yeah, right here. She was a 60-year-old grandma just quietly seated on the train, minding her own business and harming no one. Where's the outrage here? Where is the outrage? And I'm not saying that all cases are equivalent, but arguably this justifies more outrage than the Rick Chow case. Why? Because she was innocent. She was minding her own business. She was minding her own business. She was just stabbed in the throat for no reason, but they'll ignore it. Why? Because it was a black man who did it. So don't tell me that you're going to police your own community. Don't tell me that you care about innocent black lives, because you don't. You don't. I think these cases are tragic. These are horrific. I actually grieve over this. This is tragic. She did no wrong. She was innocent. She was an upstanding citizen. She was minding her own business. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And so I don't believe these people. I don't believe the black grievance liberals and these foundational black Americans, whatever they want to call themselves. I don't believe them for a second. I don't. Because they don't care when their people are killed by their own. So don't come up to me and say, like, for example, there was a shooting that happened, I think it was last month or a few months ago in Dallas, where a Korean shot up other Koreans. That was horrific. And I'm glad that guy is rotting in jail. Because why? That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be allowed. We should prosecute that. We should prevent that as much as possible. Because why? Innocent Koreans shouldn't die at the hands of other Koreans. It's horrific. And then you saw the Korean American community gathered around and they mourned this tragedy. But what does the black community do? Maybe it's because it's so frequent, they don't do anything. They say nothing when their own is killed by their own. So I don't care. I have nothing to say more, really, because I think we all know we're just getting black fatigue. Black fatigue, not because they are black. No one hates people because of the color of their skin. That is such an elementary way to think about it. We live in the 21st century. We have the internet. We know that there are different groups of people that exist, that are all made in the image of God. We all understand this. No one is denying this, okay? No one is denying this. You are not being judged by the color of your skin. You are being judged by the content of your character. Is that not, why is that so hard to understand? Why is that so foreign to you? Wake up, wake up. And I talk about this because it affects my people. Okay, when I say my people, I'm saying broadly speaking, innocent American citizens. Just people who want to live their lives, okay? The whole reason why I got into this thing in politics is because my life got flipped upside down because of the BLM movement. Because I didn't co-sign with the whole narrative about George Floyd, because I didn't donate and support BLM, my life got ruined. My life got absolutely ruined. And people were so... The moral panic and hysteria that happened during that time, all the friends that I knew, they completely lost their minds. They lost it. They lost their marbles. This is why. And everyone's being deceived into believing lies, completely believing all these false things. And then what happens as a result? Our legislation, the rule of law, the laws that govern us, the policies that govern us, corporate policy, HR policy, hiring practices, all of these things get transformed in order to cater to this small fringe minority. I'm not saying the majority of them, but a huge swath of them are violent, they're disruptive, and they all look over that. And if we call it out, we're called racist. Make it make sense. It makes no sense.